indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Turn it on. All right, I would entertain a motion to approve the agenda.
So moved.
Support.
Motion and support.
Roll call.
Sorry, roll call.
Crowner,
Here.
Newberry,
Here.
Lees,
Here.
Diaz,
Here.
Covert.
Here. All right, I do have a motion and a second for approval of the agenda. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries. I'd also entertain a motion to approve the consent agenda.
Motion to approve is presented.
Second.
Thank you. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. We'll go on to our council and staff reports.
Thank you, Your Honor. Oh, let's see. I don't know exactly what all it means, but I did put the definitions in the one of my recent updates. But I am officially an IFA housing ambassador, so I'll let you know more as I learn more. But it should have some early access to resources and information and sharing positive stories about housing in the community. So at present, I think I'm the only city individual that's on there, so it's on their website too. The Water Quality Initiative, I continue to get that finalized. I've got 2 to 3 more grants call on Monday that I'll be making as well. We received another small local, $5,000 grant to go along with that with local funds to support that project. Housing Committee will be coming to each of the cities in the county. They'll be making a stop here as well. So look forward to that. I'll have some information in the weekly update as well, talking about some of the efforts that they've been working on. Chamber dinner is Friday at 5:30, and we have an 8-person table and 8 people attending, so we'll see you all there. Western theme, I'm not going to dress up, so feel free to feel free to ride your horse, Ringo. It's in Burlington, though. You may want to check with. School's asked to talk a little bit more about SRO opportunities, so we'll be doing that as well. Housing survey, 151 responses as of today. So encourage you to get that out there till the end of the month. That'll be open for responses. So 151 as of today. DC dates were set at the chamber, announced at the chamber meeting this week, May 19th and 20th. And that's all I've got for now.
Thank you.
Well, I'll mention it later.
Chase?
2 of the lines that we were going to get sewer lined, the one we found out that we're not going to be able to line, we're going to have to dig up because the breaks on both sides are too big to line through. So I think we're capable of doing one end, but the other end we are going to have to contract out. So I'm working with some different contractors trying to get a quote on how much that's going to be. And we also went with a different contractor for the sewer lining because of some communication we're having with the problems with the other people we started with. So I did a walkthrough with this new company, and they're supposed to be giving me a updated quote on what it'll be for them to line the one we originally had, and also another one that's 2 blocks down the road that we just found that has a pretty good sized hole and cracks going all the way down the line. So hopefully I'll have that back next week or the end of this week. And then we had a meeting with Snyder for Pat Klein water main, and looks like they're coming close to getting it done and designed so it can go out for this year. So that's all I have.
Okay, thank you. Anything from police?
Don't have anything tonight.
Okay. I'm sure we'll hear from finance here before going along. Anything from housing, Greg?
Building? No, not tonight.
Thank you. Well, then I'll go to council. Kathy?
Nothing tonight, thank you.
Patrice?
Ringo and I, we went and visited the Des Moines County Humane Society. Was that a week ago Monday?
Yes.
Yeah. And we talked with them about their chips, but I can't remember the name. He took accurate notes, so I just asked the questions, and he was my good secretary. And it sounds like the chips that they have will, is comparable, that I can add, my two girls have a chip with AKC Reunite, and then the other one has one with At Home. And they can take the numbers from those chips and add it to the one that they have, so that it's registered here. And then she said they were able to also put in a rabies vaccination that would be on the scanner on the tag of the dog. And
So it
the
would-
downfall would be that the person can go in there and edit probably the rabies thing to make it look like the rabies is current when it's not. So at some point, our officer would have to call the vet office to make sure that it's current, and then if not, then they can get cited. So this Friday, I'm going over to meet up with Tiffany and get my two girls tagged with that. I mean, if I'm a proponent of it, I should probably be one of the first ones to check it out. Ringo's gonna go with me.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you.
And that was for a very nominal fee, too, that they
It
were
was like, what,
discussing.
$20?
$20.
And I don't know, Angie, how much have we paid the Humane Society for boarding and,
That was,
I'd have,
right now, I think she said that was $30 for every day for 4 days on, for no collar.
I'm just wondering how much we've spent so far as a city.
let me look.
It jumped up dramatically last year with the cost increases. I think it was closer to $12,000, wasn't it? Something like that?
So just give me 1 minute.
So, between Ringo and I, we're thinking like if we offer like senior citizens half price, or if you got multiple dogs, a multiple dog discount, that would probably more than make up for the cost of boarding the dogs, if they could find them quicker and get them home.
Burlington mentioned to me that they had an outside source willing to maybe help fund a tagging event if we put something together, maybe the two of us together, that maybe it's, I think one of the dog food companies or somebody that would be willing to maybe help fund some of that at a one-time event that they could advertise at.
Right, it's called rideranimalrescue.com. They assist in pet supplies on doing that. And you're right, Andy, they do for free on certain days. And, but, when we were talking about, again, when they bring a pet in the department, if it's a cat and has 5 kittens, so we're getting charged $30 a day, their city is per the cat, per each kitten. So, yes, then I can see how we can accumulate that much money, in a year's period, where if we're able to, when we talk about it, maybe offer assistance to our community, it'd still probably be a lot lower if we're able to take care of it and have some guidelines set, like Burlington, they just updated their law, so we can provide that in our work study when we do this and show everybody what they got.
And then she said she's working with a vet, have a vet more full-time to catch and neuter and release. I don't know if that works for chickens or not, but it'll help the cat population.
Thank you, Trace.
Sure.
Mr. Crowner?
3 quick things. Number one, there was an officer at the game the other night, at the basketball game, and I just want to mention that, continue to say, I think that's great when we have somebody at school events. I know football, there's usually somebody around, but it's nice to have somebody up there for the basketball games too. Want to talk about firework costs for just a second, not to discuss it too far tonight, but I was told that our cost is going to go up about 34% this year due to tariffs. So I'll bring back some numbers and discuss and vote on what we want to do for funding that, but just wanted to prepare you. And then Business of the Year is open. Nominations are open for about 10 more days. So you can go to whatever our website is, westburlingtoniowa.gov, or our Facebook page, and go from there to go vote, nominate somebody, and then in February, the group will get together and vote on that. We're gonna have one seat open on that since
Yes, we
Johnny's
will.
not here. And then in March, of course, third Thursday in March, we'll kind of privately announce the winner, go to their business, and have a little grand event there. So 10 more days, nominate any West Burlington business. Thank you.
Ringo?
No, Your Honor, nothing for me.
I just have one PSA for everybody. Unfortunately, at work, we received a counterfeit $100 bill. It was a 1974 bill. On the backside was covered in ink. The ladies at the bank told me that 4 of the exact same bills have been passed through Burlington. So just an announcement for everybody to keep your eye out.
Thank you. I want to reiterate the idea of the survey, and there are places around where you can use our little QR code and go in. It's pretty fast. I thought it didn't take me very long to answer those, so I recommend that for any of our citizens to go in and do that survey. It's also on the front page of our website, so. The other is that I will be sending out a protocol for consideration with the council on people coming in to make their statements and so forth. And it's been a discussion with the mayor's group here in Iowa, and there's been a lot of very good suggestions, and I thought, well, we could at least look at those and see if maybe that would be something we would be interested in. As simple as maybe having a card for people to fill out so that we know who's going to be coming up and how many people are talking on a particular subject or whatever. So I'll try to have that in the works here in the next week or two. And with that, I believe we have page 2. We have a community report, update from the Southeast Iowa Regional Airport Authority.
Good evening, everyone.
Hi.
First off, I just want to thank you for your ongoing support for the airport. Without some of these funds, it's hard to make some of the ends meet when we run into a snag with a maintenance problem, or maybe it's something we haven't thought about, that like the snow removal, maybe we needed more guys out there to help at certain times. But anyway, I just want to kind of cover the fact that, well, we got Hans here, of course, in support, and he's great. He does a great job for us on the board. So, the use of the airport, we see a lot of businesses, people traveling for business. We see a lot of vacationers go, and one of the things that we really have noticed with this particular airline, we now have the ramp, and we have seen a lot more, maybe those that are challenged with, from a wheelchair to a walker, cane, that are able to get on this plane now. It's interesting. A lot of times I'll look out the window when they get ready to board and just kind of monitor how many of those are going on, and you'd be surprised that probably during the week we see anywhere from, I would say, 10 to 12 people that would never have been able to get on the plane, on one of the smaller ones. So that's been a really good choice. So we see several business jets coming in every week still. January's a little slower, but for the most part, a lot of travelers from anything from hunters that come in to businesses that come in. Coke comes in now with their jets. Beck Seeds, they're using it. They come in and haul out the farmers out east for a dinner or whatever they do. But the commercial service is now able, like I said, to create those ADA needs. The continued services that are provided are charter services. The flight training, they're still doing flight training, fuel sales, aircraft sales, air medical, air ambulance, we'll see that now and then. Aircraft maintenance and military aircraft come in there, so there's a wide variety of uses for that airport. When the commercial airline took over on July 1st, we are on pace for pre-COVID numbers again. We're getting up there. Not quite there, but they've only been here 6 months, so I'm anxious to see a full year's service of what they can do. So from that, the employments have increased, which equates to more entitlement money to make improvements at the airport. 2023, 391,648 was the number given off of our employments. That was the dollars. 2024, it went down a little bit, 372,482. 2025, we are on pace for $464,000, which is great. At the pace that we're going with the growth, very easily could get that into the 600 to 700,000 maybe next year. So Avis, we've increased their presence by 25 vehicles versus 18. People rent cars all the time there. And some of them are just to take a trip. They don't want to take their own car. So it's not always the airport or passengers that are renting these cars from them. We've increased their concessions from 7% to 9%. The charts show an increase in the passengers served, but we have a decrease in operations. But it's explainable because the last 6 months, going from 24 flights a week down to 12 flights a week. So that was a total of 312 less operations just because of that. But yet our employment numbers went up. And I mean, that's encouraging, that if we went from 2 hubs that we were flying to, went down half the flights, but our employments grew. So I feel like we made the right decision in doing what we did. One of the things that we've been busy making improvements on the airside needs, and so we've gotten that down to where the biggest need that will be out there in the future is runway 1230. That runway, the pavement is still in good enough shape. It's probably going to be 10 to 12 years before there'll be any need for even looking to reconstruct it. But we've met, like I said, most of the airside needs now. We just finished a taxiway A and B East and C and D lighting project. So those are all LEDs across the airfield except for 1230, which will be done whenever they reconstruct it. The solar that was installed, and you can see on that graph, that's been a blessing, just watching that number go down. It's just amazing, the dollars. We tied everything in except the sign that's out front, and that'll be done with the entrance road. So all the electric is running through the solar. And it's been amazing. I wish we could figure out how to run gas through the solar for heating. We've been refurbishing the old city, what they classified the old city building. That's the building that sits across from Casey's. Avis uses the car wash side to clean their cars. There's a renter in the other side, but in the bigger portion of it, we keep our snow equipment. And so we were able to utilize some funds from the state to refurbish that building. You'll see it was an eyesore in the pictures, and it's that building's going to last a long time now. The guts were really good in it. We just needed to do some refurbished work. The entrance road and parking lot is scheduled to start here hopefully in March, if the weather holds out. We will be basically cutting it in half and doing the south side and using the current entrance as an entrance and exit. Then we'll shift it to the other side and use the south side to park in and run people in and out. That's a big one to get accomplished. With Summer Street being rebuilt, reconstructed, it's a little bit of a challenge, but they're phasing that to come up to our new entrance where it will go out, where the entrance and exit is. And then next year, I believe that they'll do their other half to the north. So we kind of wanted to do this at the same time, and it ended up the contractor that's got ours has theirs. So we got maybe a little bit of a break on that. But it also only creates one headache of people getting out there, you know, rather than you do one and then 2 years later you got another problem of getting people in and out. So we thought this was a great time to try to match those up. And I've given you all kind of a diagram of what we're looking at. It's increased parking spots. We think it's going to be helpful for drainage, for one, because we've had trouble with drainage out there. We get a big rainfall, and that parking lot floods. And I know a few years back, there was an individual that had an electric vehicle parked right where that water runs to, and I think it totaled his vehicle. So, you can see a list here of the improvements that we've made over the last 7 years. We've done a lot. We've accomplished a lot. The plan is to get it where, like I say, that the airside need is just 1230. And then, you know, there'll be a time that someone will be coming and talking to all the councils for trying to start budgeting a little bit to help us with that, because those projects are, I know 1836 was about a 12 million. So, you see the budget draft here. It's loaded up a little bit on a couple of categories. One of them is the wage, and one is the employee benefits. We will be bringing on 2 individuals in the last half of this year to, one take my place, one take the assistant's place.
Can we vote on that?
If you would like to, right there, run it through this guy.
The reason that is we want Sarah to stick around for an extra 6 months to train the next person.
I was saying we vote and don't let her go.
That's said so far. Yeah.
Well, there comes a time. But anyway, so you'll see the 5-year plan laid out, and, you know, probably one of the bigger there's 2 other bigger expenses that we'll be doing and trying to work toward. One is a master plan that we need to get in place again now, have it reworked, and the other one is maybe doing crack fill and paint on 1230 to try to help keep it together, for maybe even getting it up to a 15-year before we have to do anything with it. So anyway, any questions you guys might have?
Sir, how long have you been doing it now?
Well, I've been there 8 years.
Mm-hmm.
Been doing this for 6 years.
Ever since Mary retired.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Well,
You might not know what those numbers are, 1830 and 18.
Oh.
It's the east-west runway that we're talking about that needs eventually refurbished. I
Yeah.
had a heck of a time for the first few months too, when she started throwing runway numbers out at me.
And that's not our primary one.
No.
So 1836 is your primary, and that's the one that's got the ILS guidance system for the jets and stuff to use, but everything's trying to get it in pretty good shape before I take off, but any other questions?
I just wanted to make one comment. I don't know all the ins and outs of our airport. I've used it a few times, but I'm not deep into these numbers. But I just want to say for running a local regional airport for about $500,000 a year, that's pretty impressive. So
No.
it seems like you keep a pretty tight budget, and I appreciate that.
Thank you. We do try, and Ethan, he's my right-hand person, and he's always looking to see what he can do versus if we'd have to go outside to get it or parts, so. Anyway,
Thank you.
you're welcome,
And we appreciate your support, that's for sure.
absolutely.
And, 'cause when we're talking EAS, Essential Air Service, I think as long as there's politicians in Washington that need to get home to places like Montana or Idaho, we're gonna have Essential Air Service. Because there's no trains that go that way.
Yeah. Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Sarah.
Seeing no citizen inquiries, I'll go to our public hearing. Do I need a motion for that? I officially open up a public hearing on this then. Seeing no one to speak on our January 2026 Urban Renewal Plan Amendment, I will close the public hearing at this point. All right, we'll go to number one, which is a budget presentation for the fiscal year 2026, 2027.
Thank you, Your Honor. I'm going to try to get through this, and otherwise Angie's going to jump in too. We'll make it quick tonight. Angie's got your budget book sitting over here. You'll have about 2 weeks to kind of comb through those. There will likely be a few tweaks between now and then, but you'll have a little extra time this year to comb through the budget books. I had a statement I thought I'd start out with, but I think I'll hold my tongue on the budget process. But it's a challenging process, and it's gotten more challenging every year, so I guess I'll leave it at that. But I'll just run through this quickly to just kind of give you some of the ins and outs and things that we've been dealing with. Property tax challenges. This year we had a 4.1%, 4.13% growth in 100% valuations, but a negative growth of 11.42%. And now, if you recall, that's in part due to the valuation challenges we've had with one of our local businesses, the hospital specifically, and those changes that were made out there. This budget attempts to address capital and project and equipment needs. Capital equipment planning has been especially difficult and challenging. You'll see from some of our fund balance in our enterprise funds and road use here shortly. But we have maintained service levels, and we have maintained a strong general fund balance at just over 20% in fund balance. The tax rate in the proposed budget, we've left at the 1010, but we would like to discuss the levy rate during our budget sessions, and there are examples included in here that I'll note here momentarily as well. Again, the general fund balance is projected at 20.33%. Now, we still have a strong fund balance for unexpected revenue reductions, emergencies, one-time expenditures. So we've been able to maintain a strong general fund balance, but that may be a source of discussion or a source of revenue for discussion during our budget. So we will continue, but we have been able to continue to maintain that. And on the next page, you'll see those fund balances, starting with the general fund at a little over 762, hotel motel. Now, here's where the problems come and the trends that we've seen and we've discussed each year that we've met. Road use, local option is sitting well, But road use, water, and sewer, you'll see they are continuing to decline on a year-over-year basis. And we are projecting a running sewer and water very slightly in the negative balance. That said, we are still discussing capital equipment needs, and we haven't wanted to bring it forward for discussion with council. There's one tandem truck in there that's specifically costly, about $270,000. But we're still talking about our options internally. We may bring back some alternatives for council. But at present, we've left that tandem truck in there. It's 25 years old, 20-some years old at this point in time, and it's heavily used truck. Property valuations are on the next page, actual valuations at 100%. You'll note those year-over-year comparisons, and the slight increase you'll see this year. Now, let's talk about taxable valuations, though. They did increase just over $10 million. However, the residential rollback went from 47.4316 to 44.5345. That dramatically impacts our revenue. Residential valuations increased by a little over $5 million. Commercial valuations increased by a little over $3.6 million. Industrial valuations decreased by around $1.4 million. The next page is just a more detailed explanation of 100% in taxable valuations. I'm not going to go through that chart at this point in time, but it's nice to have that comparison for each one of the components under 100 and taxable. The next page is a page we've included the last 2 years just to give you an idea of the impact from the court case that the County Board of Assessors had with the regional hospital and the impact on our budgets. So you will see the impact noted there on page 8 of the document. A little over $195 million reduction in taxable valuation, $14 million reduction compared to the 21 taxable valuations. That 195 is a little misleading, as they, when they went prior to going to court, they had increased their value up to 100% valuation, rather than leaving it at the $42 million of valuation they had originally had it set at, somewhere around there. So it's a little misleading. We've talked about it the past couple of years, but it does have a direct impact on our revenue out there. The next page is just simply a breakdown of the tax levy and where that's proposed, or how that's proposing to be broken out to reach the 1010 levy that we currently have for the general levy, liability, FICA, IPERS, employee benefits, debt service, emergency levy, with a total of 1010. Property tax dollars, encourage you to look at that bullet point, second one from the bottom. Fiscal year 25-26, 1.872 versus 1.660 at that same levy rate, based on those earlier factors that we just mentioned. So the question is again on the table: how do we address that, and do we look at tax rates? Pending property tax discussions that are ongoing this legislative session as well. So, budget challenges again, pretty similar. Some of these are, and continue. We were waiting on Department of Management to release calculations, and they just released them today. And did you have those with you by any chance? Otherwise, we'll hand them out have those ready for you. But again, it's a declining scale where the backfill goes away in 2030 eventually. So we know it's going down each year, and it will.
It was around 41,000.
Around 41,000.
Mm-hmm.
But we were expecting it to decrease each year until 2030. The rollback comparisons for each fiscal year is on the next page, just to give you a side-by-side look at those for ag, commercial, industrial, railroad, residential, as well. CIP is on the next page, on page 12. US CPI, and historically have used September over September during our budget process. 3%, Midwest, 3.1%, municipal cost index, 3.89%. The rollback is really the huge factor this year, and you can see where we've gone for both residential and multi-res down to 44.53%. A significant drop, 2.9% over last year, as you can see, and you saw the impact of that revenue on our property tax dollars. I mentioned that again at the top of the next page, but for a $100,000 home, sees a decrease of a little over $29, $200,000 home, decrease of $58. Elimination of multi-res property class, that's why multi-res is at that same rate as residential. That was removed a couple years ago now. We're still dealing with the effects of business property tax credit, reduction in the backfill, CPI, and of course balancing our CIP needs, timing, and funding sources. Key items that are factored into the budget, capital equipment, 5-year outlook, and CIP were reviewed. You do have your capital equipment list in the budget book. The IT budget continues to include vast majority of all computers other than squad cars, which remain in the police department. Transfers have been adjusted based on our capital equipment and project needs, and we'll review those transfers with council based on those or individually at one of our sessions. We have the 4% cost of living based on our 2 contracts that we have in place. TIF admin fees have again been included to support the general fund, and there was an increase assuming the urban renewal plan amendment is approved. Excuse me, that goes up each year to support economic development and to support the general fund. Wages for the city administrator, clerk, finance staff, and IT are broken out 25% each in the general fund, water, sewer, and streets. Plus there is that TIF admin fee to support the general fund. Health insurance is budgeted at a 5% increase. Property liability insurance decreased by 6%. Work comp rates should be equally well. They remain low at 0.71%. 0.71 is the factor, I believe. 0.71, 0.72, but I can't get much lower. 0.70, I think, is the lowest. We have not made any changes at this time. If we want to get the pool committee back together, we certainly can, but we have not made any changes in pool or garbage rates. Recycling rates have been adjusted by 10 cents to factor in our those net increases that are passed through. Water rate, we're looking at a 5% rate adjustment. Sewer rates are noted in there and are proposed from $13.50 to $17.50. And the next page has a more detailed summary of that. And the main purpose of that is to meet our SRF requirements and the 10% requirement. That next page, Katie had put together some examples for us with our goal of meeting those SRF requirements and not having to see that finding each year as well, and to, hopefully get that addressed going forward. So that is included in there, and we can review that in more detail when we get to sewer if you'd like, but I encourage you to take a look at it, and we do need to meet those state requirements with SRF. If you recall, and I haven't talked about the TIF GEO bond that we've been talking about for some time now. I have a call next week with Maggie Berger with Spear Financial. Next time we do an SRF, the intent was to utilize that with the franchise fee to help pay for the Four Spain project, but to do a GEO SRF and not have to put that on our rates because it would be paid for as franchise fees. So that will help mitigate future increases in these rates. So just want to remind council of that as well. On the next page, page 17, property tax examples, we've included the year-over-year comparisons for the $100,000 and $200,000 home. I did ask Angie to include just a few sample rates in there, but more to show you that that $260,000 shortage, we don't even make that up at $10.30. If we were to go even that high, this year, a $200,000 home would be paying $958.12. If we raised rates by 20 cents, they'd still only be paying $917 based on the factors that we've talked about so far, less than they're paying this year. It's surprising how much it would actually take in order to secure that same revenue, and we've got that on the next page. Well, this is an extra sheet that was included this year, taking those same current tax rate and the three different proposed tax rates based on the fiscal year, just to show you what the revenue and the difference in revenue would be. We would have to go up to $11.40 in order for us to capture the same amount of property taxes from $10.10 that we're collecting this fiscal year. That's just crazy in my mind, and that's based on the challenges that we received at the state level and some local factors, including taxation at the local level with local business. That's a huge increase just to make up property tax revenue loss over 1 year based on these factors, and especially that the rollback. That's just crazy in my mind. Proposed budget is balanced, other than, as noted earlier, with water and sewer. We do have a few ideas there for discussion. Capital projects, we've got the force main design, proposed agency street trail design, along with 3 intersection improvements, seal coating and HMA crack, filling, water main replacement, and amendments that could address any successful grants, stormwater, sanitary sewer trails, etc. Angie has updated our TIF spreadsheet as well. I'm not sure if that's in the budget book, but we'll use that as a handout as well. After this year, where we've collected the additional TIF to kind of refill our coffers to where they were by not receiving the TIF that we were supposed to receive over 2 years, and we did that in 1 year, we'll have a fund balance that will be able to help with some of these capital projects in there. Not the capital projects that we've talked about doing in the GO TIF bond, but some of the other projects that we've talked about getting done. And we'll go into more detail on those capital projects. Challenging to maintain existing service levels to the community and positioning the city to meet new challenges. Hard pressed to address capital project, but probably more specific capital equipment needs without borrowing. So I'll have more information. I've handed out that last spreadsheet that I updated on capital projects. We may want to look at rescoring that with the new council as well. And if you recall, that's roughly, if we continue that TIF-GEO bond at $600,000 payment on an annual basis, we'd be able to capture about $4.3 million for capital projects that we've discussed. That said, that would have essentially no impact because we'd be carrying that same $600,000 debt over going forward. We've been averaging about $800,000 in debt on an annual basis versus the 1.8 and change that we had to collect this year to make up for the funds that were not collected properly by other entities. Future challenges, again, main thing will be property tax legislation. It's all over the news, and there are several proposals out there. So we'll continue to monitor those, share information as we receive it. Discussion items, the levy rate, water and sewer rates, the GO TIF bond specifically. And then the next pages are really just supplemental information, just tools to give you an idea of city funding and expenditures and how they're broken out. We've got the dollar bill that we like to use to show how your dollar bill or how your city dollar is being spent on there as well. A breakout of general fund revenues by source, and then some additional supplemental information, franchise fees as well, and revenue. We will have, our plan is to break that out over 2 years. That's a substantial design, but I'm meeting, I'll be meeting Friday with Snyder as well. I'm going to get their take on that, as well as a few other items as well. That is probably close to an $8 million project and a substantial design fee that goes with that. Projects are listed on page 24, and some items that we may want to consider moving forward. But again, a lot of that will go based on our discussion on the 5th GO bond. We do have, which includes funding for the Mount Pleasant Street project phase 3 and 4, which is 2027, I believe. We have $1.3 million in STBG funds set aside for that. Excuse me. Just a few additional thoughts on projects and borrowing. 2017 TIF GO bond is paid off. 2022 GO bond is paid off. In 2032, there does still appear to be a small balance in there as well that maybe it will be used. I need to discuss with Maggie Berger a little bit more in detail, or our bond counsel. The TIF GO debt, the plan would be to try to do that in this next calendar year, ideally, and just simply pay that first year on the interest rather than on the principal, and that's what the city did last time as well. That would allow us to get started a little bit earlier. That would come from a different source. And that last one I already mentioned with the GO funding with the SRF to keep our costs down and not have to increase sewer rates related to the SRF as it relates to the Force Main project. Our next meeting is on February 4th from 8 a.m. to 5 p.m. in City Council chambers. Plan is to follow the same process. I think it's been working pretty well. I'll hit some of the highlights for each of the budgets, have the department heads, if they'd like to mention anything, or Angie, of course, and then open it up for discussion. If there are discussion items that council would like to have, that there's, we've said a majority of council, if there's 3 council members that'd like to put on that tally sheet or whatever you'd like to call it, we'll come back to that at the end of the budget process and review those things that are discussion items. Helps us to get through the budget quicker, and then we'll come back, revisit those items, and get council input. If there's more information that you need to make decisions on those items, we'll certainly bring those back. But that's the plan going forward. And you've got a little extra time between now and then to kind of dive in, see what we've done so far. And I do expect a couple changes as we approach the 4th, and certainly during the process as well, and discussion with the mayor and council. So I do appreciate everyone's work, and especially Angie's of late, getting this pulled together. I think it's probably been our most challenging budget cycle in several years, and I don't expect it to get much easier in the near future. So I think there's some things that we can do to put ourselves in a better position going forward. So I look forward to the discussion.
Did you change the times then? Because I have on the 4th, the budget work session from 9 to 4. You changed it to 8 to 5, or on that
My
little?
PowerPoint says 8 a.m. to 5. It could be 9 to 4.
I think it's
in-
blocked off in the calendar from 8 to 5, that's why.
I think it's right here. 9 to 4.
I'll see you at
I just trying to
9.
get you up a little early.
Yeah, I did that.
I do have to say, I was very impressed with Councilwoman Lee's this week. She made a 7:30 a.m. chamber meeting. So, very impressed.
I just want to thank the department heads before we start all this, because I know it's a tough go on budget time. And the department heads and the staff, I know they work very hard, particularly when I was an employee. I know it was always a topic when I was in the police department, working on the budget, what we can do, and the chief was trying to figure out ideas and what you need and how to save money, and I know that everybody works hard on it. And again, I want to thank Angie before this all starts, because she has to dummy down things for me once in a while, and always going back and crunching numbers and going back, and it seems like a repeat. I know it's a struggle to work with it all the time during this whole next few months, but I want to say thanks before we start, because it does mean a lot.
Appreciate that. It's been a challenge this year, more so than normal. Apologize for my cold. More so than normal. So, but we'll get together and we'll come up with a good plan.
Thanks, everybody, for the hard work they've been putting in on this. I always talk to my friends about, this is the time of year that I always wonder how much your time you're going to spend trying to make something like this happen. So. We'll move on to our new business. We are considering a resolution to approve urban renewal plan amendment for the West Burlington urban renewal area. And entertain a motion?
Motion approved.
Support.
Motion and support, thank you. Discussion on this?
If there's any questions, I'm happy to answer. As you know, each time we add things, whether it be projects or TIF agreements, or we want to do something and pay for it out of tax increment financing, we need to update our urban renewal plan. And that's what we're doing here, is updating that urban renewal plan. And in there would be the new residential TIF agreement on Pennington. The workforce housing project will be in there, updating the administrative fees, things like that, making sure that the things that we have on our radar to do are in the plan. Not necessarily that they have to be done or have to be spent out of TIF, but if they are not in the plan, they cannot be spent from TIF.
I'll call for a roll call then.
Lees,
Aye.
Newberry,
Aye.
Covert,
Aye.
Crowner. Diaz,
Aye.
Motion carries, thank you. Number 2, we'll consider a resolution setting a date of meeting at which it is proposed to approve a development agreement with Big and Pepper LLC, including annual appropriation tax increment payments.
Motion to approve with February 4th is the
February
date?
4th? Yes.
Second.
Motion second. Discussion?
And yes, this Big M, most of these developers do an individual LLC with some crazy name for each of their projects from a liability perspective. So this is Panther. The lead is Panther, working in cooperation with, or partnering with Merge on this project. So they will be here. They plan to be here either in person or electronically on the 4th if there's any questions for them. So, but yes, that's who Big Hand Pepper LLC is. But
Call for a roll call.
Crowner,
Aye.
Covert,
Aye.
Diaz,
Aye.
Lees,
Aye.
Newberry,
Aye.
Motion carries. Number 3, consider a resolution authorizing a RISE grant application to fund a new roadway in the West Burlington Industrial Park.
Your Honor, would it be appropriate for me to dive into this a little bit before council makes a motion? Take it out of order, or
I think we can, unless the council objects, I would.
council's willing to waive the rules?
I see no objection, so.
I'm going to talk just briefly about these two items, and we have Mike Norris and Zach James here tonight with Regional Planning. Mike's been our main point of contact with EDA, and Zach's been working with RISE as well. There's a great explanation and some background for the radar site that Mike had put together in a memo in here as well that kind of explains what's going on here tonight. We did finally get the numbers, and they've been attached. There's a map included in the packet as well. So what we're asking tonight is for council to act on the resolution approving the RISE application, and then also the EDA letter as well. And you'll see that it has no numbers on it. So we've been discussing, based on the input that we've received from Klinger and their preliminary estimates, how best to proceed. And I hope I state this correctly, because we've had several conversations, so please interject if I'm headed down a different path than you're thinking as well. One other thing before I go to those numbers, we have a draft letter of understanding. So originally we talked about doing this transfer ahead of the application for the road. And we have a draft letter of understanding on how this would work. Essentially, there's no commitment on our part to proceed if we don't get, well, essentially there's no commitment to proceed. We have a letter of understanding saying what we'd like to accomplish. I think everybody's goal is to get the road in, get the infrastructure in. We have some interested parties that are looking at the old Raiders site for expansion in the community. We have an opportunity now. We have a unique opportunity. We're in a unique position to also be able to apply for not only RISE funds but EDA funds, and to bring those to bear in our community for a couple reasons: disaster, the case closure, and a few other things that put us in a unique position to apply for funding now. But the goal is to apply for RISE and EDA funding, and to, I guess, see how those things shape out. The intent is not to have a local match. That said, we'll have to see how the grant awards come back. The RISE application doesn't have a dollar amount in it. That's simply a letter of support. The EDA letter it does have numbers in this. Essentially, I think what we're looking to do is 50% RISE funding, 50% EDA funding, and in the city's share, putting in roughly 20%. Were we there on that 20%, or what number? I'm not sure if we have.
I think the goal, as Greg said, is to minimize the city's match, and so our first effort will be to apply to RISE February 1st if the council approves that, and that's up to a 50% grant on the total cost estimate. So that total cost estimate is about $2.1 million. And that's with contingency, that's with engineering admin, that's
Everything.
You know how engineering estimates go. They throw everything in there. So the first task is to get 50% of that $2.1 million. And then after we submit the RISE, we'll submit the EDA grant. So both grants will kind of be in flux at the same time, but we'll hear from RISE before we hear from EDA. So it's likely that we'll have some kind of number adjustment between RISE and EDA. So maybe RISE comes in and they say, hey, $1 million's a little much for us. How's 750 sounds? So then we'll take the balance and then put it into EDA. And meanwhile, we're still within each grant's match parameters. And so we'll try to keep balancing that until we can. And at the time we can't, then we'll call Greg and say, okay, here's the situation, here's what the granting agencies are telling us. But we're well within each grant parameter to hopefully really minimize or have zero city match. That's kind of the whole effort we're trying to.
But the EDA letter will require us to put some type of number in there. Now, the goal is to have RISE and EDA funds fund the project. if, worst case scenario, they come back and say, we're not gonna fund $200,000 of it, and we have to, or whatever that amount is, and we have to have some further discussion. But the goal is to have RISE and EDA pay for the project. So,
EDA letter,
Since we have people online, and that's the only way to really pick you up, I'm sorry, but that's,
it may be better to have that second paragraph say, you know, at least for our purposes tonight, than to have it say the 50 to up to 80% for EDA, not just the 50%, depending on how RISE comes back.
it's probably safer, the EDA letter's about giving a placeholder match until the RISE is approved. Because when we apply to EDA, they have to know something. And so we don't know about RISE, but we can know city side. So it's probably the safest play to match the first number in the EDA letter to the RISE, the maximum RISE request.
So 50 for RISE, 50 for EDA, and 20% placeholder for the city, or?
So the placeholder for the city would be the RISE amount. And that would be the upper bound of it.
So we're looking at $1,064,000 roughly, at 50%.
Correct.
It would basically be the amount then for the EDA letter for both paragraphs.
Yeah.
Not that we're proposing that we spend $1,064,000 at the city level, but that our intent is to use RISE funds to offset and EDA funds to pay for the project. If we need to, we'll come back to council then, well, we'll have to what the awards are. Right now, we're just in a unique position to get a lot more potential funding for this project than we've ever been in before. And we don't have the same issues with the 80-20 funding for opportunity that are tied to jobs, and with the requirement of having to pay that back, where we've seen those issues coming before and worked last time around. So we'd like to move forward tonight with the RISE application, move forward with the EDA application, see what it comes back at, and then bring that back to council, and hopefully with a very positive result, given where we stand with both case and disaster county declarations for disaster. Puts us in a unique position to apply now. So, and that letter of understanding, I think, lays out between the three entities that are 2 or 3 entities, but 2 entities, Greater Burlington and the city. You know, this is what our intent is. I put that together. Mike and Taylor both had feedback on that, and then we can finalize that. Anything else?
There will be more conversation. If the council approves the application, there will be reviews from Iowa DOT, from US EDA. They're in Denver. And so we're in a 10-state region in Denver, so we're going to be competing with other applications. So there's going to be more communication coming back from this. Really, this is kind of the first step so that we can apply, go for the maximums, you know, try to make the best application we can, the most competitive ones. We'll get the feedback. We're hoping the feedback will be exactly as we want it. If it's not, I mean, we'll bring the feedback back. Bring back the feedback either way. So this is the first step tonight. As Greg said, we're hoping to have the numbers a little bit earlier, but we got them yesterday around 4 o'clock. And so we've had a few conversations about how to lay this out, you know, for a win-win situation, not only for the city to minimize the cost, but also, you know, the main point is really to open up new opportunities for businesses to locate in West Burlington. As you saw from the background memo, it's just been a really underutilized piece of property for a long time. I think for the right businesses, it has an element of seclusion to it. You know, there's other industrial property on Mount Pleasant Street, but it's, you know, it's in the wide open and you're sandwiched between the railroad track. This may have some other advantages that people would like to see that want to be here. So that's really the whole purpose, is to add value, try to create some opportunities with that road to access the property.
And the chamber's been investing in cleaning up the property already. That work has been ongoing. And we've done our own investigations as requested on that third stretch specifically regarding the concrete. And the guy's been out there and it breaks up easily. It's not very deep, but something that they could probably clean up, 2 guys in a couple days. So we're not finding anything that's a barrier out there to getting that road in the proposed right-of-way area. Based on the work that Public Works has been able to do out there. We haven't found any bridge abutments or anything like that. We were a little concerned at first there, but it broke up easily. It's got some rebar in it, but it breaks up and it can be hauled away pretty easily, so.
I want to make a couple comments. I was very against the first RISE application, and glad we didn't do that because we would have been eating
Yes.
a couple $100,000. This, however, makes a lot of sense in doing it this way and trying to get it completely funded through the double grants. And it's not tied to jobs that we have no control over. So I think this makes a lot of sense to try it and see if we can get it done. I'm not sure how many other ways we have to actually fund that road without somebody coming in and buying and saying, hey, we're 100% going to build a building and promise the jobs and have clawbacks. And that's the only other way I see it getting done. So I think this makes a lot of sense. So thanks, Greg, for putting all this together, and thank both of you for your work.
Yeah, I don't see any risk involved in it at this time either.
Okay, with that then, I'm looking for a motion to approve this.
Motion to approve on the RISE grant application.
Second.
Motion and second. We've had our discussion, so let's have a roll call on this one.
Crowner,
Aye.
Covert,
Aye.
Diaz,
Aye.
Newberry,
Aye.
Lees,
Aye.
Motion carries. Thank you. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you, appreciate your help, both of you.
Yep, thanks, Greg.
Okay, so that was the RISE grant, right? So we
Yes.
need to go to the next one, which is the EDA grant. Consider applying for an Economic Development Association grant and pledging a local match for the West Burlington Gear Avenue Access Project.
So each of those paragraphs would be $1,064,000.
So moved with that amendment.
Second.
Motion and second. Roll call, please.
Crowner,
Aye.
Covert,
Aye.
Newberry,
Aye.
Lees,
Aye.
Diaz,
Aye.
Motion carries. Thank you. Number 5, consider an ordinance amending Section 5.02 of the city code pertaining to bond requirements for public officers.
Motion approved.
Support.
Motion and support. Discussion?
I think it's important to say as we go through like 20 changes here that a lot of this is just state code changing things. and-
All of it is state code, none of this is brought forward by us, this is all state code changes that are required,
Yeah, if you're listening from home, there's a whole lot of changes, but it's just a couple words here and there.
minimal.
But it matches state language, and we have to do that, so.
Correct.
Okay. Roll call. Have I had a motion on this? I've lost track. Okay. Roll call, please.
Lees,
Aye.
Crowner,
Aye.
Covert,
Aye.
Diaz,
Aye.
Newberry,
Aye.
Motion carries. We'll go to number 6, which is considering an ordinance amending section 5.06 of the city code pertaining to electronic meetings.
Motion to approve.
Support.
Motion and support. Seeing no discussion. Roll call, please.
Crowner,
Aye.
Newberry,
Aye.
Lees,
Aye.
Covert,
Aye.
Diaz,
Aye.
Motion carries. Number 7, consider an ordinance amending Section 5.07 of the City Code related to the compensation of officers.
So moved.
Second.
Motion and second. Roll call, please.
Lees,
Aye.
Covert,
Aye.
Newberry,
Aye.
Crowner,
Aye.
Diaz,
Aye.
Motion carries. Number 8, consider an ordinance amending Section 7.05, subsection 4 and subsection 6 of the City Code related to fiscal management.
So moved.
Support.
Motion and support. No discussion. All in favor? Oops, roll call.
Crowner,
Aye.
Lees,
Aye.
Covert,
Aye.
Newberry,
Aye.
Diaz,
Aye.
Motion carries. Number 9, consider an ordinance amending Section 18.03 of the City Code related to publication requirements.
So moved.
Second.
Motion and second. No discussion. Roll call, please.
Lees,
Aye.
Covert,
Aye.
Diaz,
Aye.
Crowner,
Aye.
Newberry,
Aye.
Motion carries. Number 10, consider an ordinance amending Section 45.15 of the City Code related to fire department authority.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Motion and second. No discussion. Roll call, please.
Crowner,
Aye.
Covert,
Aye.
Lees,
Aye.
Diaz,
Aye.
Newberry,
Aye.
Motion carries. Number 11, consider an ordinance adding a new chapter 50 to the city code pertaining to adult establishment nuisances.
Motion.
Support. Motion and support. No discussion. Roll call, please.
Covert,
Aye.
Lees,
Aye.
Newberry,
Aye.
Crowner,
Aye.
Diaz,
Aye.
Motion carries. Number 12, consider an ordinance establishing a new section of the city code pertaining to false representation of a service animal.
Motion.
Support.
Motion and support. No discussion. Roll call, please.
Covert,
Aye.
Newberry,
Aye.
Diaz,
Aye.
Lees,
Aye.
Crowner,
Aye.
Motion carries. Number 13, consider an ordinance amending section 70.02.000 related to pedestrian in the right-of-way.
Motion approved.
Second.
Motion and second. No discussion. Roll call, please.
Crowner,
Aye.
Covert,
Aye.
Diaz,
Aye.
Newberry,
Aye.
Lees,
Aye.
Motion carries. Number 14, consider an ordinance amending Chapter 120.05, subsection 8 of the City Code pertaining to liquor licenses and wine and beer permits.
So moved.
Second.
Motion is second. No discussion. Roll call, please.
Lees,
Aye.
Covert,
Aye.
Crowner,
Aye.
Diaz,
Aye.
Newberry,
Aye.
Motion carries. Consider an ordinance, number 15, amending Chapter 121 of the City Code pertaining to revocation of a cigarette and tobacco permit.
Motion approved.
Second.
Motion is second. No discussion. Roll call, please.
Crowner,
Aye.
Covert,
Aye.
Newberry,
Aye.
Lees,
Aye.
Diaz,
Aye.
Motion carries. Number 16, consider an ordinance amending Section 136.08 of the City Code pertaining to property owners' responsibility to maintain abutting property.
So
Motion.
moved. Support.
Motion and support. Thank you.
who was the first one? Okay.
Teresa's first, and then Ringo was support. No discussion. Roll call, please.
Lees,
Aye.
Covert,
Aye.
Newberry,
Aye.
Crowner,
Aye.
Diaz,
Aye.
And just a reminder for folks that we still have that sidewalk program where the city will pay 50% of them fixing their sidewalks, so it's not a big chunk.
Applications online.
Would anybody be interested in making a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
So moved. Second?
Second.
Second. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
We are adjourned.
It's too bad we couldn't